Hello Zenith women and welcome to the channel. Worship no crown that's afraid of silence. Unknown shadow. They walk into rooms without announcing themselves. No entourage, no applause, no desperate need for followers, and yet they own the air. Sigma females don't bend to social gods. They unmask them. In a world where influence is currency and status is the new religion, everyone is expected to kneel to the altar of popularity. Blue check marks are treated like birthrights, and charisma gets confused with character. But here's the truth: they don't want trending. Studies show people are more likely to follow someone confident than someone competent. Sigma females read that and said, "Cool, I'll pass." They don't chase status, they dissect it, they don't follow trends, they audit them like IRS agents with a grudge. And when a Sigma female refuses to worship a social god, it's not rebellion, it's evolution. You see, while the world is obsessed with spotlight addicts, she thrives in the shadows. Because the spotlight reveals the actor, but the shadow exposes the script. So why do Sigma females pose such a threat to the false prophets of popularity? Why does their refusal to bow send shockwaves through the fragile egos of the self-declared elite? Buckle in, because what you're about to hear isn't a personality type, it's a revolution, and it's not polite, it's powerful. Number one, popularity feels like a weak drug. Most people crave attention like it's oxygen. They post, pose, overshare, and bend themselves into whatever version gets the most approval. Validation is the drug, and the hit comes fast. Likes, views, compliments, claps. But for Sigma females, that entire system feels cheap. It's not that they can't get attention, it's that they see how easily it's bought and how quickly it gets hollow. Attention to them is like sugar water. It gives a rush, but then it fades, and you're left emptier than before. They've watched the cycle. Someone gets famous for being loud, flashy, or perfectly on trend. The world praises them. The algorithm rewards them. People start copying them like parrots in a cage. And all the while, Sigma females are in the corner, not clapping but calculating. They're not impressed by volume or visibility. They're looking for depth, and attention rarely brings that. In fact, it often kills it. Sigma females would rather be real than be seen, and that's terrifying to a world built on performance. If she posts, it's not for applause. If she speaks, it's not for laughs. Her value doesn't spike when eyes are on her, and that makes her untouchable. Social gods don't know what to do with that. They're built on the idea that if they shine bright enough, everyone will orbit them. But the Sigma doesn't orbit. She watches, maybe, studies definitely, but she won't revolve around a personality that needs constant validation to function. The truth is, she sees how attention changes people. It makes them plastic. It makes them shapeshift to please crowds they don't even respect. That's not power to her, that's prison. So she chooses the opposite. She'll take solitude over spotlight, control over clout, reality over recognition, because popularity might make you visible, but it doesn't make you valuable. And here's the twist that breaks the game. The moment you stop needing attention is when people can't stop paying it to you. That's the paradox Sigma females mastered. While the world screams for approval, she whispers with purpose, and somehow that silence echoes louder. Number two, she's immune to cults of personality. Most people don't even realize they're in a cult of personality. They think they're just inspired. They latch onto someone powerful, magnetic, and loud, and suddenly that person's opinions become gospel. Their flaws become quirks, and their approval becomes a currency. That's how social gods are born. Not because they're extraordinary, but because the crowd needs someone to worship. But Sigma females, they don't buy into that programming. They don't want to be followers, fans, or footnotes in someone else's ego trip. Sigma females are natural escape artists. The moment someone starts talking like a messiah or performing like a brand, she doesn't lean in, she leans out. It's not because she's unimpressed, it's because she sees the strings. While others are hypnotized by charisma, she's looking for the control mechanisms. What's being sold here? What belief system is being packaged as personality? What rules am I being asked to swallow without realizing it? She doesn't get pulled in by grand speeches, aesthetic branding, or perfectly curated vulnerability. She knows those are often just camouflage for manipulation. And it's not that she's skeptical for the sake of rebellion, it's that she's aware, deeply, intellectually, instinctively, She knows the most dangerous prisons don't come with bars. They come with admiration. So when the social god starts building a following, throwing out catchphrases, promising secrets to success, creating us versus them narratives, everyone else claps. The Sigma female maps the exit. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, she will not be trapped in someone else's mythos, no matter how shiny it looks. And because she won't worship, she can't be controlled. That's what makes her dangerous to social gods. They don't just want attention. They want conversion. They need people to believe, follow, and echo them. Sigma females break that echo. They stand outside the system, unaffected, unmoved, and untamed. While everyone else is building altars, she's building immunity. And in a world addicted to influence, that makes her the antidote. Number 3, she's not competing, she's creating. Social gods live and die by the scoreboard. Followers, likes, influence, prestige. It's all a race. They climb by comparing. They need someone below them to feel tall, someone behind them to feel fast. Their entire identity is a reaction to someone else's position. But Sigma females, they're not even in the same arena. While everyone else is busy measuring themselves against each other, she's somewhere else entirely, building. Not competing, not chasing, just creating something from scratch that has nothing to do with anyone else's status. She's not threatened by someone doing better. Why would she be? She doesn't define her worth in contrast. The whole concept of being the best is pointless to her because she's not trying to win a title someone else invented. She's focused on authenticity, innovation, depth, things that don't have leaderboards. So while others are posting for praise and flexing for validation, she's locked into her vision. Her energy isn't split between being seen and being real. Social gods manipulate the game. Sigma females change the blueprint. They don't rise by beating someone. They rise by doing something so distinct that there is no comparison. It's not about being ahead. It's about being elsewhere. And that's a threat to those who rely on the crowd's constant attention to stay relevant. When someone like her enters the room and doesn't play the comparison game, it exposes how empty the game actually is. This is why she's untouchable. You can't compete with someone who's not competing. You can't outshine someone who isn't in your light. She doesn't chase trends. She ignores them until they're irrelevant. She's not driven by who's watching. She's driven by what feels right. And because of that, what she creates is pure, powerful, and unpredictable. That's the edge of a Sigma female. She doesn't need to dominate the room. She redefines the room entirely and lets everyone else catch up or stay confused. Number 4, she can't be bought with proximity. Most people treat proximity to power like a badge of honor. They light up when someone famous remembers their name or follows them back. They drop names like confetti and cling to conversations with high-status people as if their own worth just went up by association. That kind of validation is cheap and addictive. But Sigma females, that lever doesn't work on them. You can't buy their respect with proximity. You can sit them next to the king, and they'll still be more interested in the architecture of the room. Being near the throne doesn't impress her because she doesn't believe power is contagious. She knows being close to influence doesn't make you influential. It just makes you a satellite, spinning around someone else's gravity. And she's not interested in orbiting. She's built to stand alone, not be someone's accessory in their social solar system. Social gods often use access as a weapon. They hand out small doses of attention like it's currency, expecting people to become loyal just for being noticed. But Sigma females see that tactic for what it is. Control disguised as privilege. That's why you can't flatter her with your connections or your network. She's not impressed that you know everyone in the room. She's more curious whether you even know yourself. When someone with status tries to flex on her, dropping elite names, showing off exclusive invites, or offering her a seat at the table, she doesn't chase it. She questions it. She's thinking, what are you hiding behind this access? What's the cost of sitting at this table? And more importantly, do I even want the food you're serving? That's the threat she poses to the power-hungry. She can't be bought, baited, or blinded by social closeness. Her value doesn't spike because someone important nodded her way. Her identity isn't for sale, and her presence isn't transactional. So when she walks away from the throne without bowing, the room doesn't forget. Because in a world where most people are climbing over each other to get close to power, the one who walks away unmoved is the one who truly has it. Number 5, she equates attention with surveillance. Most people crave attention because they think it means they matter. The more eyes on them, the more real they feel. But Sigma females know better. They've cracked the code. Attention isn't just flattery, it's surveillance in disguise. The moment you're noticed, you're watched. The moment you're watched, you're controlled. And that's exactly what they reject. Social gods make it look glamorous, being seen, admired, center stage. But to a Sigma female, it's a trap with velvet ropes. Once you're in the spotlight, every move is judged, every opinion is filtered, and every mistake is amplified. You stop being free and start being a performance. That's the price of attention, and she's not willing to pay it. She sees what most people miss. Attention isn't neutral, it comes with expectations. People expect you to behave a certain way, speak a certain way, align with the unspoken script. And if you deviate, you're shamed, unfollowed, or worse, cancelled. That's not admiration, that's invisible handcuffs. Sigma females sense that, even when the crowd is cheering. When a social god notices her, she doesn't feel honored, she feels analyzed. She doesn't think, wow, I've been chosen. She thinks, what do they want to extract from me? Whether it's influence, validation, or quiet compliance, she knows attention is rarely ever given without an agenda. This is why she chooses mystery over fame, privacy over popularity. She doesn't hide because she's scared. She stays low because she's smart. The less they see, the less they can try to shape. The less she's exposed, the more she owns herself. And in a culture where visibility is sold as value, that kind of independence is downright subversive. Sigma females don't need to be seen to feel significant. They'd rather be underestimated than overexposed. Because while the world worships those in the spotlight, she's the one pulling strings from the shadows. And no one's watching her do it. That's not just power. That's untouchable. Number 6. She doesn't need a king, she's the storm. Most people are taught to look for someone bigger than themselves, to follow, to admire, to lean on. Especially women are often fed the myth that there's power in attaching themselves to a man with status, charm, or dominance. But Sigma females aren't buying it. They don't need a king because they are the storm. They don't orbit power, they generate it. A Sigma female doesn't enter a room looking for a throne to sit next to. She is the atmosphere shift. She doesn't compete for a man's approval or validation because she's not trying to be chosen. She's choosing herself. Social gods, with all their charm and curated dominance, expect people to fall in line, to worship their image, to become part of their carefully crafted universe. But Sigma females don't enter universes. They dismantle and rewire them. This is where things get uncomfortable for the ones used to being adored. They're not used to women who don't flinch when looked at. They're not used to being seen through rather than looked up to. The Sigma female doesn't giggle at power plays or melt under attention. She sizes it up like a storm watches the ocean, calm, deadly, and impossible to control. Where most people adjust themselves to fit into someone else's world, she expands hers. She doesn't need protection or permission. She's not moved by status. And she doesn't want to be held down in love. She wants someone who can keep up when she takes flight. And that's where the threat lies. Social gods are used to being the gravitational center, everything pulled toward them. But a Sigma female doesn't revolve around anyone. She's a system of her own, self-sustaining, self-defining, and unpredictable. If she walks into your orbit, it's temporary. If you try to lock her down, you'll lose her faster than you gained her. So no, she doesn't need a king to rule beside. She's the thunder, the upheaval, the force that rewrites the landscape. And when she moves, the world adjusts or gets swept away. Number 7. She smells narcissism in perfume bottles. Most people get pulled in by presentation. A charming smile, sharp suit, the right lighting, the right words. It's easy to get seduced by polish and mistake it for substance, but not a Sigma female. The more flawless someone appears, the more her inner alarms start blaring. She doesn't fall for smooth, she interrogates it. Sigma females have a sixth sense for narcissism, and they can smell it even when it's disguised in compliments and cologne. To her, overconfidence isn't impressive, it's suspicious. She knows narcissists don't just want attention, they need it like oxygen. And she knows they'll do anything to get it, perform, flatter, mirror your personality, even fake humility just long enough to hook you. But Sigma females don't play into that. They don't reward theatrics. They don't respond to love bombs or carefully constructed personas. The second someone seems too perfect, too agreeable, too calculated, she starts digging. She knows that narcissists are experts in branding themselves as alpha, visionary, special. They curate their image so precisely that people stop questioning it. That's where the Sigma is different. She questions everything. She's not drawn to the center of attention. She's watching how that person handles being ignored. She's not charmed by a compliment. She's watching what they do when they don't get what they want. And when someone keeps turning the spotlight back on themselves, no matter how poetic, deep, or seductive they sound, she sees it for what it is, a mirror designed to blind, not reflect. That's why narcissists hate her. They can't play their usual games. She won't laugh at their self-centered jokes. She won't be dazzled by their success stories. She sees the manipulation under the magnetism, and once she sees it, it's over. There's no coming back from that. So while the crowd is still clapping and swooning, the Sigma female has already left the room, unmoved, unimpressed, and absolutely immune, because in a world obsessed with appearance, she's one of the rare few who still cares what's behind the curtain. Number 8. She questions what others call destiny. Social gods love to act like they were born different, like the universe handpicked them for greatness, while the rest of us were just lucky to witness it. They speak in grand declarations. I was meant for this. This is my calling. They tried to stop me, but I'm inevitable. It's all theater. But to a Sigma female, that script is tired. She doesn't worship people who act like fate kissed them on the forehead. She questions the entire premise. To her, destiny isn't given, it's built. It's sweat, scars, and choices. It's not about being chosen, it's about choosing. When someone walks around acting like their success is cosmic law, she sees the insecurity underneath. That whole "I was born for this" energy, she knows it's often just a shield for fragile egos that can't survive being questioned. And Sigma females question everything. She doesn't get swept up in the mystique of someone who calls themselves iconic. If you have to say you're a legend, you probably aren't. If you need people to believe you're untouchable, you're already showing your cracks. That's the kind of delusion Sigma females walk away from without a second glance. She values groundedness over grandiosity. She respects growth, not self-proclaimed greatness. You could have the biggest following, the loudest voice, the slickest story, and still not earn her attention if you carry yourself like the universe owes you something. She doesn't care who you think you are. She cares who you are when no one's clapping. That's why social gods hate her silence. They thrive on reverence, and she offers none. They want to be seen as fate's favorite. She sees them as people with good branding. She's not intimidated by ego wrapped in destiny language. She cuts through it, finds the human underneath, and decides, is there anything real here or just someone high on their own mythology? And when she sees it's all performance, she doesn't attack. She doesn't argue. She just disappears, like a storm that doesn't need to explain itself. Number 9, she refuses the role of mirror. Social gods thrive on admiration. They build their kingdoms by surrounding themselves with yes people, followers who mirror their image and amplify their ego. They want reflections that sparkle and reinforce their greatness, not shadows that expose flaws. But a Sigma female refuses to be a mirror. She's something far more dangerous, a revealer. She doesn't mirror to please or flatter. Instead, she holds up a lens that exposes reality, often forcing social gods and their followers to confront uncomfortable truths they'd rather ignore. She doesn't participate in the illusion. When others are busy polishing a fake image, she shines a light on cracks, hypocrisies, and hidden motives. That's why she's not popular in circles built on shallow praise. This refusal to play the mirror role unsettles social gods deeply. They crave loyalty that reinforces their narrative, but the Sigma female delivers reflections that challenge it. She reveals when someone's confidence is actually insecurity. She points out when charisma masks manipulation. She's not interested in comforting lies or hollow applause. She deals in authenticity, even if it makes people uncomfortable or angry. Because of this, social gods see her as a threat, not because she undermines with noise or drama, but because she dismantles with quiet clarity. She's the kind of presence that breaks illusions without raising her voice. She forces people to see themselves as they are, not as they want to be seen. For Sigma females, refusing to be a mirror is a declaration of independence. It means she won't sacrifice her truth to keep someone else's fantasy alive. She doesn't exist to feed egos or uphold fragile kingdoms. Instead, she holds the power to disrupt and redefine what greatness really means, by refusing to reflect what's false and choosing instead to reveal what's real. Number 10, she's the ghost they can't influence. The greatest nightmare for social gods isn't a loud challenger or a rebellious follower, it's the person who can't be touched at all. Sigma females are that ghost, unseen, untouchable, and completely immune to influence. They don't flock to power, they don't battle for it, and they don't waste energy trying to prove themselves. They simply exist outside the system social gods build to control everyone else. Social gods depend on people who can be impressed, swayed, or converted. They need followers to boost their image, rivals to validate their dominance, and fans to feed their egos. But Sigma females are none of these. They don't care about the spotlight or the drama. They don't seek approval or validation. This makes them impossible to manipulate, which drives social gods mad. To be a ghost in this context means more than being quiet or mysterious. It means being a force that social gods can't pin down or package. You can't label her, predict her, or use her to amplify your power. She's indifferent to the games of influence because she plays by a completely different set of rules. Social gods often try to co-opt or control people by flattering, threatening, or charming them. None of that works on the Sigma female. She's not there to be won or lost. She's not a prize or a pawn. She's a black swan, rare, unexpected, and disruptive. Her presence doesn't reinforce their dominance, it erodes it. This makes her the ultimate threat, a living contradiction to the entire system of social worship. She won't be bought, cajoled, or coerced. She simply moves through the world untethered by the gravitational pull of social gods, leaving them frustrated, powerless, and obsessed with trying to figure out what they can't have or control, in a sea of parrots repeating the same lines. She's the ghost that haunts their rehearsals. The unpredictable silence that breaks the performance and exposes the emptiness behind the throne. Number 11. They read between the fame lines. Sigma females don't get dazzled by fame the way most people do. Where crowds see a spotlight, they see a mask, one that's carefully crafted to hide the real story underneath. Fame isn't a badge of honor to them. It's a disguise worn by people who desperately want to be noticed but are terrified of being truly seen. While others worship the charisma and the glow, Sigma females are quietly dissecting what's fueling it. They watch closely when someone flexes influence, throws out their credentials, or basks in applause. Instead of being impressed, they're already running the mental tally of what's behind the curtain. What insecurities or fears are driving this performance? Is this confidence real, or is it a facade designed to cover self-doubt? Sigma females have an uncanny ability to see the cracks in the veneer, the tiny tells that reveal desperation beneath the swagger. This is why social gods who rely on their fame and image find Sigma females so unsettling. They expect admiration, but instead they get scrutiny. They want to be worshipped, but Sigma females offer no easy reverence. Instead, they ask the uncomfortable questions nobody else dares voice. They don't buy the story of born greatness or inevitable success. To them, fame without substance is just noise, and they're experts at tuning it out. They don't fall for the hype because they understand that true power isn't about how many eyes are on you, it's about how unshakable you are when no one's watching. That's the real measure, and Sigma females live by it. So while the world gets caught up in the glamour of influence, Sigma females quietly see the whole picture, the facade, the fears, the hunger behind the fame. And because of that, they're never fooled. In a society obsessed with status, they're the ones reading between the fame lines, decoding the story others miss, and seeing through the illusions with brutal clarity. In a world addicted to worshipping social gods and chasing hollow crowns, Sigma females stand as a quiet storm, unmoved, unbought, and utterly unbreakable. They don't fall for the glittering traps of status, charisma, or destiny parceled out like divine right. Instead, they rewrite the rules entirely, carving their own paths with fierce independence and razor-sharp clarity. Their refusal to worship isn't just rebellion, it's a declaration that true power lives beyond the noise of applause and beyond the shadows of empires built on illusion. Sigma females don't play the game because they see it for what it is, a carefully constructed theater of control designed to keep minds captive and spirits tethered. They shatter the mirrors social gods hold up, revealing uncomfortable truths and exposing empty thrones. They are ghosts that can't be influenced, storms that can't be contained, and rebels who refuse to bow to scripted destinies. To underestimate a Sigma female is to miss the subtle force that quietly dismantles entire kingdoms without firing a shot. Their threat isn't loud, it's absolute. In their world, worship is weakness, and independence is the ultimate power. So while the masses chase after social gods like moths to a flame, Sigma females are already miles away, illuminating new horizons and proving that the only throne worth owning is the one built by your own unshakable will. In their refusal to worship, they become the true rulers of their fate, and that is the real threat social gods fear most. If you found this deep dive into the power of Sigma females eye-opening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join the tribe that's redefining strength and independence. Smash the like button if this resonated with you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your take. And share this with anyone who needs to see a different kind of power in action. Stay sharp, stay unstoppable, and I'll see you in the next one.